When you look at somebody like what Ja is going through, right? Who's reached the top already, making money, but can't seem to, I don't know if it's the people around him or figure it out. What is it that worked for all of us, Mike, Lakeith?
I think Monty Jones had an interesting perspective that you don't blame the people. Like if you look at that incident, I don't talk public. I'm a gun guy. I'm very pro Second Amendment, and I think that part of the problem with guns in the black community is I'm from the deep South. Like I'm from Atlanta, but my family's from Tuskegee, Alabama, Eatonton, Georgia, places like that. You get given a gun at 19 years old. So you're already accustomed to it. You get a BB gun, you go out, you learn how to shoot something small. Anything you shoot, generally you're gonna eat. You know, so if you shoot a raccoon or a squirrel, you better be prepared to eat it, otherwise don't shoot it. So I believe when you look at a person like Ja, it's because his friend tried to save him. His friend saw it and was like, oh, shit, he's doing some stupid shit. Get his phone out the way. That's a good friend indeed. But I think that honestly, it's hard to tell a 23-year-old with $100 million, you know, what to do. But to me, it's easier to get him in a Bass Reeves Gun Club or NAGA, which is National African American Gun Association, things of that nature, because, you know, you're excited. Boys are excited by warrior culture. Every boy doesn't play baseball or football or basketball. Some boys need to enjoy fishing and hunting and things of that nature. So I think if black people as a culture, if we get quiet about commenting on each other every time we make a up, and then we focus on 9 to 13-year-old boys, getting them acclimated to being outside, getting them acclimated to doing like turkey hunting, things of that nature, the guns won't seem so exotic. So I think we need to embrace the up, say, okay, it was a up, but now this is how you direct that energy. So for me, if I had a conversation with Ja, I just like, when you come to Atlanta, let's go through stutters. Let's let these old white guys teach us how to hold a gun, because you should never hold a gun like that. That was the stupidest that I saw. So I'm like, he gonna drop that.
That was the part that scared the shit out of me.
That's the part that scared the shit out of me. I was just like, this finna shoot itself.
You know, having success, being polarized, being famous is something that requires a certain level of maturity, understanding, and experience to deal with. And it's the same thing with weapons and guns. It's a respect and an education thing. And I think we should be instilling within our youth what that education is, what that looks like, what responsibility looks like, yielding these tools that can be so devastating or can save your family. It's all about the person wielding them and the psychology within that person, I think.
Understand exactly what you guys are saying, but there's also like he's part of the NBA, and there's an image that the NBA wants to have that he has to think about that part, right, too? So like, Coach, when you have young guys, is that like a conversation in a locker room with guys sometimes about like, you're not a part of the NBA, you play for the whatever team, the Clippers.
That ain't your job.
Do you think that's part of your job or not? That's
well,
I do.
I think it's different. I think, you know, as an ex-player and being a coach now, when you see younger guys that, you know, you can try to help, you know, I think that, like, okay, I saw, you know, some things that wasn't right, you know, just trying to help that younger kid out. Like, when you get older, 30s, like, see, you know, I ain't, you know, see, they grown. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but like, you know, you got Bones Highland, Brandon Boston, those type
young
of guys.
guys. You pull them aside.
Yeah, pull them aside, like, listen, man, like, you know, you grown because you're a man. Once you make it to the NBA, like, you become a man, you know, fast.
Whose job is it, CP? Like you said, his job. Whose job?
You know, it's crazy because T. Lue is unique in that he's just a player's coach. You know what I mean? It don't matter if you 35 or if you 20, you're just gonna respect T. Lue because he played, because of the way he come at guys. But I tell you, it's so crazy because I'm a big Ja fan, right? Lil Chris had a...
You know him, Mo?
So Ja came to my basketball camp, right? When he was in college, and he came into camp, nobody really knew who he was like that. And after camp, everybody knew who he was. That's when he blew. That's when he blew up, and all the NBA scouts. And I'm gonna tell you, Lil Chris just had an AAU tournament this weekend, and he was playing in Ja's shoes. So I always say, like me, Bron, some of the older guys, we have a unique perspective in the league because we still play, right? So we in the locker room with the younger generation, and we got kids that's their age. You know, I got teammates that's closer in age to Lil Chris than they are to me.
Of course.
You know what I mean? But it's so dope because it like keeps me young. And what I say about Ja and just me being in the league and my position as president for the union for so long is that everything that you guys just said is so real, but it happens so fast, right? I came in the league when I was 19. I had $151 in my bank account as a college student. Wow. I declared for the draft, got an agent. The agent offered me $100,000 upfront money. right? Luckily, I had two parents who they was like, that's too damn much, right? But they said 25,000, cool, right? So you know what happened? I was at Wake, right, in Winston. I went to the bank right up the street just so I could see what the statement looked like, right? Because we young, we don't know.
Yeah.
We ain't never had no money like this. Yeah. I went and got the statement that said 25,151. Right there, though. No education came along with it, right? First thing I did, I went to the mall. Of course. Took my girl to the mall, Jay Gray and his girl, went to the mall. We went to the
Ball.
What?
Ball.
What? What? We went to the clothing store. We went to the clothing store. I said, everybody get you something. Right? At 19, now everybody looking at you as being the head of your household.
That's why I said you grew up
or your
quick.
family.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And now, also, you want me to try to be the best basketball player I gotta be. And I gotta learn how to deal with the media. And I got everybody asking me for this and that. You know what I'm saying? So I would love to talk to Ja.
Well, whose
yeah,
job
you know what I'm
is it
saying?
to help it?
Huh?
Whose job is to help? Whose actual job is? It's not the coach. It's not really the GM. Is it your family? Is it your
It's your
agent?
job to seek help too.
Yeah,
That's a good point.
Yeah, you gotta even though you're young, you gotta understand. You don't have to have all the answers, but I do have a responsibility because you have people that are looking at you, and you have people that you're going to be responsible to lead. So
Yeah.
I think you're supposed to seek mentorship, and I think that older black men in particular should offer mentorship. And mentorship to people who are on the internet and on IG is not something charging you $30,000 to give you advice. Mentorship is free. The $30,000 is a consulting fee, and if I pay you a consulting fee, I better damn well see some results.
Listen.
Financial literacy. Oh,
No, it's great. No, go ahead.
It's so important. It's so important for our youth and for young black men to know. And mentorship is a real thing. I was walking out of the mall one time, and this dude come up to me. I think I was like 20-something, like 25 or something. He come up and he's like, "Hey man, I appreciate your work. I'm an actor, and I want you to be my mentor." And I thought it was weird because I was like, "This grown. Like, why are you telling me?" But I just had never had that happen to me before, and I didn't know what a mentor was. I didn't have one. I didn't know that was a thing that could be a thing. And after I ruminated on it and thought about it for a while, I was like, damn, I could be a mentor. And I understood what that connection actually meant. It's exchange of information and us helping each other and being a stepping stone for each other to get the knowledge before we got to learn it the hard way. Yeah. And I think our community could use a lot more of that, like, interchanging and transferring information, especially upon the youth when it comes to being financially literate. I remember I got my first check. It was crazy. It was like, I was grown at this point. I was like 20, but I hadn't seen that kind of money before. And it was like, I got it was like maybe $130,000 in a check or something like that. And it was just crazy. And it was like this car that I really wanted, and it was just like, that was the only thing that was on my mind. Like, I have to get this car. And, I didn't have credit, I didn't have anything. I walked into the dealership with a duffel bag full of money and just set it on the counter. Like, here it is an exact amount for how much the car costs. And then they counted all the shit out, and I'm sitting there watching them count it out, and then I drove off the lot, and I was broke. But I had my car.
But you had your car.
And I, of course, learned the value in learning how to, spend and use your money, because then I'm struggling for the check. I'm struggling for my rent the next week and trying to figure it out. I was like, this has to be backwards. But if I had someone that was a mentor, someone to tell me, someone to just reach out to and say, hey, that's not how you spend your money, that would have been very, very helpful.